Land Rovers are known for being able to go pretty much anywhere. So when it came to testing out the newest model in the lineup, well, we have literally traveled to the ends of the earth. That's why I'm here between the volcanoes and glaciers of Iceland to test out the newest Land Rover, the Discovery Sport. As a new model, it does need some introduction. The Discovery Sport is the first of a new line of Discovery models that Land Rover will be launching. Now, to clarify, this is not a Range Rover. A Range Rover is a model, just like the Discovery Sport, and Land Rover is the brand. Think of it as the brand's more approachable offering, a rival to the BMW X3 or Audi Q5 in the ultra-hot compact premium crossover segment. For starters, one of the most enticing aspects is its style. Now, I don't actually like it a whole lot, and I don't dislike it either, but you know what? It looks like a Land Rover, and that means a lot to a lot of people. But perhaps more importantly is the price. You'd expect a Land Rover to cost gobs of money, like you're buying a Porsche Macan, but that's not the case here. In fact, you can actually get into one of these Discovery Sports for less than 40,000 bucks. Apart from the brand name itself, capability is really what sells a lot of people on buying a Land Rover, and the new Discovery Sport does not disappoint. With standard all-wheel drive, it's got 8.3 inches of ground clearance, and pretty much all of its specs for off-roading are, at par with its rivals or even just slightly ahead of them, which really is what you expect when you're buying a Land Rover. It can actually climb a 45-degree angle, and probably its most impressive stat is that it can drive through 2 feet of water. Like the Range Rover models, the Discovery Sport comes with a terrain response system. However, unlike those, it's not a little control knob that you move in the center console. There's actually buttons up here on the center stack that you can control for different features of the car. Those buttons adjust the truck's steering, throttle response, gearbox, all-wheel drive, braking, and stability control to best match the demands of 4 preset driving conditions. There's one for grass, gravel, and snow, one for mud and ruts, one for sand, and one is a default setting. But this is a crossover, and it's designed for urban and suburban life, so all that off-road capability may not be incredibly important. Unfortunately, I can't tell you a ton about what it's like to drive around town because, well, we're in the middle of nowhere in Iceland. I can also tell you that it's hard to judge the vehicle's sort of cornering capabilities when it's got those studded tires on. They also make a little bit more noise than tires normally would. The turbocharged engine makes excellent torque at low RPM, and that means that if you just give it a little extra push of acceleration, it actually just pulls right off the line. You don't need to really get on the throttle. There is a bit of a downside. Now, it does have a 9-speed automatic transmission. The good news is we've experienced none of the problems that we've experienced with some other new 9-speed automatics from different automakers. The downside, of course, is that with all those gears and a turbocharged engine, when you want a lot of extra power, when you slam your foot down, it does take a little bit longer than you'd like to get moving. When it comes to the overall cabin, it is nice, but it's nothing spectacular. This isn't a super expensive Land Rover after all. The design is a little bit simple. What I do like, however, is this beautiful brown leather in this model, especially on the seats. One ergonomic issue that I just cannot let slip are these controls for the windows on top of the door. I know that's the way Land Rover does it, but really they're hard to use and you have to twist your fingers and wrists in all kinds of weird ways to actually hit those buttons. So I really do wish they were down lower on the door. Perhaps the most notable features inside the cabin, however, are the 2 display screens. There's a 5-inch one located right between the gauges with all kinds of useful information, and then there's an 8-inch one right at the top of the dash. And it's funny how 8 inches used to seem like a big deal, but really now anything smaller than that would just seem tiny. There's also a brand new infotainment system. Yay! Because Land Rover's old one was sort of from the Sega Genesis era. It looked just absolutely brutal. So this new setup can actually be controlled in a modern way too, just like your phone. You can actually swipe it and slide just like you would with your phone. It's not quite as responsive as I'd like, but it's definitely better than that other swipe and slide system out on the market. And the main feature of that screen is Land Rover's new In Control app system, which you download on your phone and then access through your car's touchscreen with numerous other apps, including music streaming services that are optimized for in-car use. Hop into the second row and the stadium seating setup is really quite obvious. The rear seats actually sit 2 inches higher than the front ones, making sure the rear seat occupants actually have a great view outside of the car as well, which is nice. Those seats can also be adjusted up to 6.8 inches forward and backward, meaning that at a maximum you get 40 inches of legroom. So I have lots of space back there. As an added surprise, Land Rover actually makes the Discovery Sport available with a 5+2 seating arrangement. And that means you actually can order it with a third row. Now, as I'm sure you can guess, it's not terribly spacious, but I can think of occasions when you really need that extra row and, well, it's there if you want it. Land Rover might just be the last player to enter the premium compact crossover segment, but this utility vehicle does hit a lot of high notes, especially when it comes to everyday functionality. And of course, it injects lots of Land Rover DNA. After a day testing this machine through the wilderness of Iceland, I can say I'm truly impressed by its capability. This new Land Rover really lets you discover a new side of crossovers.